Hey there, dialoguers. Welcome to another episode of Danae's Dialogue, where we talk it out to walk it out. I'm your host, Taylor, and I'm overjoyed that you came back. So let's get into it. You ready? Let go. Celebrity deaths are weird. At least for the fans. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it's like we don't really have these real connections with the individual, but it still hurts, right? It's almost as if we really did know that person, but on the other hand, it feels irrational almost to grieve someone that we didn't know. Whitney, Michael, Prince, Nipsey, Kobe. Their deaths took our breath away. Then, late Friday evening, the world once again was left speechless and breathless when we learned of the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Similar to Kobe, the impact was compounded when we learned that he died from colon cancer, which he had been battling since 2016. In the statement put out by his team, they said that he had undergone countless surgeries and chemotherapy treatments, all while giving us the movies that we will forever hold in our hearts. As we tried to come to terms with this devastating blow, there was one point that stuck out in our minds. One question that we did not have the answer to. The question that we'll never have the answer to. Why didn't he tell anyone about his diagnosis? Everyone is speculating, right? Now, Kobe's death affected me because of what he meant for me personally, right? And I talked about that in the earlier episode. The fact that Kobe left behind daughters as young as Capri, his youngest, it triggered me to my core because I know what it's like to grow up trying to love your dad through the memories of other people, right? The girl dad hashtag, it broke me. Because not only did that apply to my father, but my uncle, who had graciously stepped into that role after my dad passed, and I had just lost him as well. And so I couldn't watch the memorials, seeing the pictures of all those wonderful fathers with their daughters. It saddened me. And then came Chadwick. Hearing that he had passed has affected me in a very different way. I personally know what it's like to hide your true predicament from those around you. Now, as most of you know, I have Sickle Beta Thalassemia. That's a form of sickle cell anemia, right? And I am in no way, shape, or form trying to equate my situation to that of Chadwick Boseman or any other person battling cancer or any other chronic illness for that matter. I'm speaking for myself, okay? But my battle with this disease really started when I was 9. Right. So I was in the 4th grade, or I was going into the 4th grade, and I had been hospitalized for really the first major crisis of mine right before the school year started. And when I started the school year, I came equipped with doctor's notes permitting me to carry water bottles and prohibiting me from taking gym classes and contact sports and activities, and a free pass to leave the class should I ever need to. Now, if I would have adhered to all of those regulations, then my school day would be drastically different than the rest of my classmates. And to me, to 9-year-old me, that could not happen, okay? There was one day where I tried bringing in my water bottle, and I immediately became the topic of discussion. Like, y'all know how kids are. Like, Miss, why she get to bring her water bottle? You said we couldn't bring in the water bottle, but Taylor got her water. Nope. That was it. I was done after that. right? All the questions, all the perceived special treatment that my other classmates thought I had, I was done. I put that water bottle back in my locker and there it stayed till like college. Okay. It was the first and the last day that I tried to live in the truth of my illness. And that sounds funny, but I just wanted to be treated like everyone else, is what I'm saying, right? It's not that I was hiding my illness or my disease. I just didn't talk about it, right? Because I just wanted to be treated like everyone else. I didn't want to be the oddball. I didn't want to be the center of attention, and I definitely didn't want unwanted attention, and I definitely did not want anyone's pity. I knew then that I did not want to be defined by this thing. Therefore, if it was not pertinent information, I didn't explain. So when I read that Chadwick kept his diagnosis close to his chest, I immediately knew why. Because I could relate. Can you imagine? Like, no, for like, can you imagine if he would have told the world? Think about what his press tours would be like. Think about what the headlines would say. Think about how much attention would be paid to his illness rather than the roles that he played or the movie that he was starring in or the castmates of those movies. All of that would be eclipsed by the actor battling stage 4 cancer. Mr. Boseman, what was it like playing the Black Panther who has access to this magical herb and has all this vibranium that can cure anything while you're battling this incurable disease? Mr. Boseman, what advice do you have for others who are battling this disease just like you? Can't you just hear all those questions? I know I can. But what I'm saying is either he would have been championed for working well, undergoing treatments, or on the other end of the spectrum, he would be promoted by pity, celebrated for sympathy's sake. Because when it comes to complicated, nuanced conversations like those surrounding chronic illnesses and chronic pain, I have found out that either people know exactly what to say and they know exactly what to do, or they just do the complete wrong thing. Now, add celebrity to a chronic illness and you get a deluge of stupid in response. Like I said, I understand why Chadwick chose to stay silent. I just have this feeling that he wanted the focus to be on his work, not his illness, his actions, and not his surgeries. The movie, not the side effects of chemotherapy. I truly believe that he knew that he had a certain amount of time to impact a movement that was bigger than him. And it was that knowledge that carried him through every single one of those movies. His focus was on the bigger picture, and he needed to complete that without distraction. He wanted to be in control of his own narrative, and he knew that going public with this diagnosis would mean the loss of that control. He would be defined by, associated with, and discussed through the lens of his illness. Why? Well, we kind of have a bad habit of identifying people with their issue, right? That's just biblical. The woman with the issue of blood, blind Bartimaeus, the 10 lepers, doubting Thomas. We call Noah a drunk, even though there's only one instance of him getting drunk in the whole 66 books. But I digress. Right, but we don't really even need to go back to the Bible for examples. We can go back to the list of people that I mentioned earlier. Whitney, Prince, Michael. So we tend to merge the issue with the person, good or bad, right? Chadwick would have went from being the biopic star to the biopic star with cancer. right? He had already had enough working against him just being a black actor. Being a black actor with cancer would have just been a bigger obstacle to climb over. I mean, just look at how we're talking about him now. His work is being reevaluated and re-examined. His movies are being championed because he did them under pain, under treatment. Now, regardless of that fact, the work should be celebrated. But now we're really celebrating them because of the information that we know now. Right? His work is being talked about through the verbiage of one who was battling a disease. Newsflash, people, regardless of if he was diagnosed or not, he would have been doing the movie in pain. It's the pain of being a black man in America. The pain of being a talented black man in America. The pain of being overlooked and undervalued simply because people don't see us. So how do you navigate already being unseen by society? And even when you're seen, you're still seen as a threat. Now you want to add on cancer? That identity would have consumed him. Not being defined by your illness, but being seen as an individual is an important part to a lot of chronic illness patients. Ask me how I know. After reading Ryan Coogler's statement, I now believe that it was no accident. That identity was one of the main themes of Black Panther. Knowing who you are, repeating and proclaiming your lineage, standing in your truth, all of those were themes that were prevalent through the entire movie. When I first watched the movie, those themes resonated with me because at the time, my one word was identity. And so now it brings me great joy to know that while Chadwick was sculpting his identity and legacy in stone, giving us the gift that is his depiction of King T'Challa, the Black Panther, that I too was also going through that process of defining myself, working on not letting the opinions of others be my definition. It gives me peace to know that he was able to move throughout life, not being defined as or beholden to a disease. He had cancer. Cancer did not have him. Let's remember that and let's celebrate that. On the flip side, I also know how mentally and emotionally draining withholding that information can be at times. The burden of the physical pain with the weight of the emotional pain is a cross that is impossible to carry by one's self. Not being able to fully express yourself, your hurts, your pain, your weaknesses to someone, to anyone, is taxing. Knowing that besides people who are battling the same diseases you are, very few people in your family and in your immediate circle will never be able to truly understand what you go through every day, and that's draining. Clearly, he had a great support system. A group of people surrounding him who walked through this process with him while also keeping his secret, for lack of a better word. And that is an invaluable gift, one that I'm blessed to have as well. And so I applaud his family and his friends for covering him and helping him through what I know was probably the toughest time in their life. But in the midst of that celebration, there comes a time where guilt and remorse encapsulates you into a perpetual state of sadness because you know that you have altered the lives of the people that you love the most. And not all of those alterations were good. You come to a place where you feel like you are the problem. You are the burden. You are the person who requires so much from others while most times being unable to reciprocate. So I'm sure that there were times where Chadwick questioned why this was happening to him now, why he couldn't do more. And I suspect that that was the driving force and the catalyst behind his desire to produce quality work, to play meaningful characters, and to do it to the best of his ability. Cancer did not have him, and cancer wouldn't win. Now, because of my faith, I believe that Chadwick has won the battle. He has received the ultimate healing and rest from the work that he sacrificially gave to us. So I salute Chadwick Boseman for his strength and his determination, his love for his people, the integrity of his character, and the excellence that he brought to his craft. He graced us with many gifts that will never be forgotten. But I believe that the reminder and the reinforcement of not judging a book by its cover is the greatest gift that he left us. He has shown us that we never know what people are dealing with. So it is our duty to treat others with kindness, to honor them, to love them, and to tell them that we love them while they're able to hear us. In closing, I echo the words of Michael B. Jordan, who said in his statement, "Is this your king?" Yes. Yes, he is. Rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. Ashe. Well, there you have it, folks. That concludes episode 14 of Danae's dialogue entitled Show Them Who You Are, a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I know that this has been a rough year for a lot of us, but we're gonna be all right. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Dialoguers, you have been great. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Then head on over to Danae'sDialogue.com to continue the dialogue. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, Ashe.